About summertime rendering, I don't think I'm living under a rock, so why isn't anyone talking about this anime? I wrote down the name because it was mentioned offhandedly by somebody. I just looked at the visuals and thought it would end up being at least half decent. I got to it really late though. It's like 3 episodes away from completing, but it's definitely the best anime this season. Spy X Family is a great anime for what it is, but Summertime is just way better in my opinion. I'm barely into it and I can already tell that it will be the best thing I watched this season, and probably one of the contenders for anime of the year. I mean, if it ends up getting more exposure. I looked it up on YouTube to see if any other YouTubers were talking about it. I was half expecting to not even make this video, because the other half of me was already expecting that every other YouTuber talked about it, so I wasn't going to see a point in making a video on it. But from what I've seen, only 2 other videos were made on the anime, and they both didn't get all that many views, so not many people know about it, so fuck it. I decided to make my own video on it. Well, maybe by the time this is out, some popular YouTuber will make a video on it, but it's gonna be the summer season by then, so I doubt it. So I wanted to talk about the anime and put some people on who have never heard about it. I'm only 2 or 3 episodes in so far, but I can give a good idea on what it's about. We start out in Shinpei's, who is the story's MC, dream on a boat. He's talking to one of his childhood friends named Ushio that he hasn't seen in years. They chat it up a bit, just talking about the time they haven't seen each other. Then Ushio walks up to him and fucks up his eye a little bit, kind of like that scene in Mushoku Tensei, but a lot less violent. Ushio says she won't be there when he goes to the island, mostly because of the fact that she's dead, but Shinpei forgot about it I guess since he's in a dream. He reaches out to her all dramatic like as she's phasing out of existence, but then he wakes up to reality, which honestly isn't too bad if you're a MILF type of guy. Shinpei goes through the anime routine, getting bitch slapped and then apologizing before he gets off the boat. He takes a step back and remembers the reason he came back was for his friend Ushio's funeral. His adopted sister Mio, if that's what you call siblings in a family you got adopted into. But Mio comes riding down the hill to the dock to greet him, but she falls into the water like she was on a Wipeout episode. Shinpei and Mio walk up the hill and go straight to the funeral, and they see that MILF lady again in an alley. Definitely not foreshadowing for anything later on. Shinpei hears So's dad, who is another one of his close friends, did a autopsy on Ushio. They have the normal Japanese funeral routine, when So coincidentally pulls him to the side. He starts saying how guilty he felt for letting her go alone to save the kid. Also, Ushio died from trying to help a kid that was drowning on a beach. I think I forgot to mention that part. So just confesses everything to Shinpei since he felt guilty about it. Shinpei has the same voice actor as Tanjiro from Demon Slayer, so it's hard to imagine him getting mad. I mean, the voice actor also did Odokawa from Odd Taxi, but he was definitely talking in a tone that was just nice to everybody. But that's besides the point. Shinpei accepts his apology and asks So about his dad and the autopsy. He doesn't tell him until later on at the end of the day, since they're in the middle of a funeral. Shinpei calls him later that night after dinner, but there's something else that happens before all that. A police officer guy is patrolling the neighborhood, and he sees Mio just standing outside the house looking at it. Before I watched the anime, I saw 1 or 2 screenshots of Mio covered in blood. Once I saw that nigga turn around and look at the officer, I knew from that point we were gonna get to the fucked up part of the anime. We cut to Shinpei having the phone call, and So runs him up to speed on what happened. Basically the whole autopsy thing was a rumor, but apparently Ushio had marks on her neck, like somebody strangled her, so it was looking like somebody killed her. But in the context they were in, it was impossible to imagine somebody attacking her, so the police just wrote it off as an accident, and left it at that. The next day we see Shinpei and his family working at their diner, and we see the police officer guy again. He tells him how one of the families that ran a grocery store ended up disappearing in the morning. The daughter of that family was the one Ushio saved at the beach. They were in a lot of debt recently, so I guess they left to avoid paying it. Mio runs out the diner to go to the family store, and Shinpei follows her. They ran up to it and the store was obviously closed, and they sat down to talk about the family. Mio mentioned that Shiori, the girl Ushio saved, was acting weird a week before the accident, that she saw an exact copy of herself when she was playing outside, and ever since then she felt like she was being watched, which is when conveniently an old fisherman that looks like the black version of the guy with the boat in the first episode of Hunter x Hunter, he started talking about some folklore on the island, about people seeing copies of themselves that they called shadows. That's why Mio was so freaked out. She saw a shadow of Ushio when they were on the beach, 3 days before the accident. They go up the mountain to see some monk guy who is supposed to cleanse her from her shadow, and they see somebody in the bushes near the house. They go into the woods looking for the person they saw, and oh shit, it was a MILF lady from the boat. Definitely didn't see that one coming. But for real, the actual concerning part was that she got gunned down and she was bleeding out. Mio went to go find Hope, and the MILF lady started talking to Shinpei once Mio left. But before she could finish her thought, she got put in a kill cam compilation because she ended up getting shot in the head. Like 15 feet away from them, they look up and see Mio holding herself at gunpoint. She shot herself and then she shoots Shinpei. Then Shinpei wakes up again to a face full of tits, and that's when everything starts to click. Summertime rendering is basically in the same boat as ReZero or Steins Gate, or they keep going back in time to try and fix whatever they fucked up on. And I'm guessing he got that power in the dream he had in the beginning, because one of his eyes are a different color, and for some reason no one acknowledges it. Not that many authors use this type of plot in their series. It can be really interesting, but you could end up with a lot of plot holes or confusion if you fuck it up. Summertime looks like it handles that problem pretty well though. I really have no clue why nobody's talking about this anime. It's like Sunny Boy. It was one of the best animes but nobody recognized it. So if you haven't heard about it, just go watch it now. You won't regret it. That sums up my initial impressions on the anime. If you enjoyed, watch my last video about the 2022 summer anime season. That's all I have to say though. Peace.